You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Fallon, a weekly program here on Time Warner. We're also carried by a number of the radio affiliates here in Lancaster and beyond. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. This show is actually produced at Fairfield Christian Academy, and our executive producer behind the scenes, Kelly Roberts. This program has now been on radio for about 14 years, as hard as that is to believe, and on television for about the last 5 years. Back by popular demand is Deputy Lyle Campbell. Glad to have you back. Had a great program last week. And for the viewers and listeners that may have missed last week's program, let's talk a little bit about November 23rd when you were actually investigating a traffic accident. You and another driver were outside of the vehicles, and you were actually struck by an oncoming vehicle that tragically killed Bill Allman and then seriously injured you.
Yeah, I was out investigating a traffic crash outside of my cruiser when Mr. Allman and myself were struck by a fourth vehicle that was not involved in the original accident.
Okay. And so now it's been a number of months and
2.5 months.
2.5 months. And so it's probably been, because you're a really active guy, right? I mean, you like to go out and do good police work, and you're always involved in something and things like that. So this part of this has probably been very difficult for you not to be able to kind of keep moving in where you were.
Absolutely. You know, I'm on second shift patrol, which is by far our busiest shift at the sheriff's office. You know, I led my shift in arrest this year, second year in a row, so I stay active at work, and I'm also part of the Sheriff's Office SWAT team, so
okay.
That keeps me busy, you know, with training. We train twice a month, and then we have call-outs and stuff, so I went from being always on the go with my two boys and work to a screeching halt.
So how long before they think you'll be recovered or back to work?
They originally told me 9 months, from 6 to 9 months from the day of the accident. At my first follow-up appointment, the doctor did say it's probably going to be 9 months before I can return to full duty.
Okay.
And then I just went to the doctor 2 weeks ago, and he said it's going to be 9 months. So I got about 6.5, 7 months to go.
And are you able to put any, because the injury was to your leg, right?
Correct, my lower right.
I mean, you had a lot of injuries, but this is the thing that's been the most problematic as far as healing. Can you put any weight on it yet or anything?
No, I'll be like 9.5 weeks, 10 weeks this week, and I'm still not allowed to put any weight on it, and I go back in 5.5 weeks.
Okay.
So until then, just no weight on my right leg at all. So.
Now, one thing that we probably want to talk about is the law, which is in effect, it says get over, move over. Why don't you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, I believe it was about 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago, the state of Ohio enacted a law that actually stated that drivers must either slow down or move over preferably, if not slow down, for any type of stopped emergency vehicles, whether it be a police officer or ambulance or fire truck, or even a tow truck driver that's helping a stranded motorist along the roadway. By law, they have to slow down and move over.
Right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, because it's very dangerous.
Yeah, you never know, and we've seen that all too often as we've seen law enforcement officers hit or fire trucks hit and those kind of things. And I think a lot of times what happens is when people are driving, and there's the lights on the cruisers and everything. They get fixated a little bit on that, and they're really not paying as much attention as they should to their surroundings. They kind of start watching that. I mean, how many times have we seen like a cruiser pulling over a car, but you'll see all the cars all slowed down and kind of looking at the cruiser and maybe not paying enough attention to the car in front of them.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I've seen videos and stuff of officers that have been struck, and you would think that disproportionately it would be more nighttime than daytime, but it's really not. I mean, I've seen just as many daytime. I think more so people are just curious as to what's going on, so they start looking, and then, when you're not paying attention to the road in front of you, you drift. And if somebody then overreacts to that person maybe drifting out of their lane, then you have, or then inclement weather, is a lot of time plays a factor.
Right. Now, you mentioned last week you're on the SWAT team.
Correct.
And for one of the big things that you've been involved with is narcotics enforcement through a lot of traffic stops, and kind of had almost an extra sense on when you think there's drugs in vehicles and things like that. What are some of the things that we're seeing out there today as far as the type of drugs that you saw while you worked the road? What's the most common thing that we're seeing?
Well, at the patrol level, it's just your normal. You normally deal with a lot of substance abuse users. Okay. But the opiates and marijuana's out there. People of all ages still recreationally use that. But opiates and methamphetamine are the two. Okay. That I think our county, at least when I was actively working narcotics, and even still see as patrol, this past year I had a traffic stop where I seized approximately 50 unit doses of heroin.
Wow.
That was coming down 33 through our county.
What would be the value of something like that, the street value?
It just depends. The farther south from Columbus you go, the more the price goes up. So, I think here in our county, you probably, people would pay, for a unit dose, $20 a unit dose. So,
okay.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Street value.
So, is a lot of the drugs that we see, do they come out of the Columbus area into Fairfield County?
Yes. Most of the opiates that aren't pharmaceutical based, like the heroin, and now the new stuff where they mix it with fentanyl and everything. They make fentanyl labs and this stuff's mixed in together. But that stuff comes from Mexico, obviously. And there's several port cities or hub cities in the United States. Chicago used to be the big one up this way, but now Columbus, they're saying, is a hub for the East Coast as far as narcotics. So the narcotics smugglers will bring the stuff directly into Columbus before it goes out.
Well. Excuse me.
It happens. You're busy. Before it comes to Columbus, before going east to the East Coast. So, opiates and of course methamphetamine is either there's some methamphetamine that's produced outside the country and brought in, or a lot of people make it themselves. Right.
Is and what about the people that are the users? The people that you see out there, the users, or the people that are selling the drugs, ages, young people primarily, or all?
Well, that's the weird thing about the opiate epidemic is I think across the country that it's been noted by law enforcement and the experts that investigate or statistically put this stuff together as far as the age range and stuff. It's not really, there's not age range. It's late teenage into people in their 40s, and there's really no, with opiates, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for, like a socioeconomic disparity. It's all different ranges, whether the people are on the lower end of the social financials. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. There's really the opiate epidemic has really affected the whole range.
What would surprise me is even before this program today, as I was coming in, and I was walking through where we were bringing prisoners in, and there were two young ladies that were handcuffed. They were being charged with something, and they looked like high school students. They were clean cut. They were attractive. And, I just knew that certainly there was a drug component to why they were there. And then that's what we see over and over again. One of the things that has really, as far as the opiate thing that we've seen in the county, is the fact that when I became sheriff, now into my 16th year, we would have about 10 or 11 females in the Fairfield County Jail. Today, we have 60, 70, 80. It's not unusual. And the vast majority of those women are addicted to heroin or opiates.
Absolutely. When I started here in 2008, our normal female population was around 30, 35. You know, and then I remember when I was working narcotics with the scrap unit, that I think that number was up. Sometimes we had close to 100 females.
Yeah, one time.
Right.
At one time. It seemed to peak in 2012. That was the highest number of incarcerations we had. We were up to about 300, and I think our highest was 312. Today we're about 100 off that, and so it's a work like people you've done out there, and a lot of different things that have really kind of helped bring that number down. And I do think that Fairfield County is trending in the right direction as far as, we still see a lot of daytime burglaries and things like that, but overall, the last time I saw crime stats, we're doing better. We're heading in the right direction.
Right, and I think, when we first started the scrap unit, people thought, oh man, the drug problems, I don't think that it was any worse.
Right.
I think it had probably reached its plateau, but we were just aggressively combating the issue, through local law enforcement, so it made it seem like it was worse. I think the problem was there, but I think we helped. Now we're on the downtrend, I think.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I can remember going back now 4 or 5 years ago, we really did a lot of publicity on what's going on in the county as far as, these are the drugs we're seeing, these are the initiatives. We started the opiate task force, we started Prevention Works now a number of years ago. And what I think happened is it really kind of magnified the extent of the problem. Like, we were the same as Zanesville, Newark, a lot of different cities.
Right.
No worse at all, but it kind of made it appear that we were doing a little bit, it was more prevalent here.
Right, and I don't really think that it was more prevalent. It was just
that's right.
It just appeared that way because we were aggressively combating the issue, so it was being more in the forefront instead of being kind of in the background.
Correct. Okay, what are some of your plans for the future with the sheriff's office? I know we're going to get back to work.
Right, I'd like to get back to work. Hopefully, they're saying August, sometime August, end of August. I would like to maybe be back a little sooner than that if possible.
Okay.
It's the guys are short on the shift. I mean, we're kind of short with everybody. We got some other people off or whatever, injured, and people having children and stuff. So the guys are running ragged, But I'd like to get back to work as soon as possible and just get back into the groove of things. But I'd like to, maybe be a detective someday, or
right.
If we ever get another canine.
Yeah, I think you'd really excel as a detective, because I think, some people just have that extra sense, and they kind of really are good at interviews and things like that. So we look forward to that day.
Well, I've learned from some of the best we've had at the sheriff's office, that's for sure.
Yeah. We have a great sheriff's office. The men and women do a great job day in and day out, and a lot of times they do things they never get recognized for, but it's really a great group of people, and I've been honored to be a part of that organization.
Thank you.
Now, we'd like to have you back when you get back on your feet here in a few months, and when you're back to duty, and kind of talk about some new things going on then.
Absolutely.
Deputy Lyle Campbell, deputy with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, will be a 8-year veteran coming up this April, who has miraculously survived just a devastating injury, but continues to improve day after day. I do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, that have been praying for Lyle, and all the nice letters and comments we've gotten from individuals throughout not only Lancaster and Fairfield County, but beyond that, the state of Ohio. Well, the clock on the wall says we're just about out of time. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners. This program is produced at Fairfield Christian Academy. They do a terrific job. Until next week, same time, same place, God bless, and we see you right here.
These waters were woven into the culture of Native American tribes. The descendants of the early Europeans built a business here based on agriculture. And today, this unique destination in the central Ohio countryside comes to life with stories and memories centuries old. The Fairfield County Historical Parks invites you to amazing Rock Mill. Above the falls of the Hocking River Gorge, here together, nature and man have created some truly American stories that you'll want to experience with the entire family. Visit us or learn more about Rock Mill and the largest wooden water wheel in the nation at historicalparks.org.